And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Men of High Value channel. This is your host, Joseph Darling, and we're going to talk about semen retention and masculinity as we always do. Now, this is a topic that I'm really passionate about. In some ways, I stumbled into it like 6-7 years ago because my wife somewhat wasn't really interested, and I was like, I'm not going to finish this off, so I just kind of pulled out, and I was still hard, and I was like, this is interesting. I kind of enjoy it. And I'm like, what's the point of ejaculating and then simply becoming flaccid, which is basically not hard anymore, and then you become tired and you lose all forms of energy, and it's like, what's the point? So I started looking into semen retention, started looking into what it means in terms of retaining your sperm, and also in terms of also doing it while you're having sex, because there are benefits to both. But if you're not in a relationship, in general, you should just keep your sperm. So anyway, your goal, according to this video and according to the title that I put in, is to become more masculine. There is no guy that should have a goal to become more feminine or to remain in his femininity. We're not designed for that. You as a man will become happier the more masculine you become. If you remain in your femininity, you're going to just keep having issues. You're going to have you're going to be divided with yourself, because in your head, you're supposed to be masculine. In some ways, in your heart, you're supposed to be masculine, but your body is telling you otherwise. There's just something wrong with that. So how do we figure out if semen retention actually increases masculinity? It's very, very simple. Now think about it. If we can agree that being emotional is a feminine thing, right? If you are, the opposite of emotional is rational and logic. We use our brains a lot more than we should use our emotions as guys. Because there's nothing wrong with emotions. Life is basically emotions. But if you don't control your emotions, then your body and your emotions will take control of you. Like, for example, being emotional has to do with the now. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying the now, but if the now makes you sacrifice your future, there's a problem. And let's have some examples. Having sex outside of marriage, completely unnecessary and can cause a lot of repercussions, in a few percentage of the time, but hey. Another thing, drinking alcohol. It's in order to feel good now. You don't think about the hangover or the effects that it's going to have, in your life in general, your organs for years to come. What about smoking? You want to feel good now instead of thinking about the consequences of, again, your organs, your body, and everything that is going to go downhill if you keep doing it and it becomes a habit. All those things that I'm talking about, credit cards, gambling, everything is just to get a quick high, and then you have to pay for it later. In order to be masculine, you have to pay for things first. And then you can play later. And you can play on a grand scheme. So anyway, that's the difference between emotional and rational. Rational is understanding the past, the now, and the future, and how your now plays its important role in the whole scheme of things. And when you're emotional, you don't think about the past, you don't think about the future, you think about, I want it now. And that's a feminine trait, and we just need to leave that over to the women, and we're going to take care of business ourselves as men. So if we know that being emotional is feminine, what do you think lack of control is? Lack of control means that you don't have, again, overview over the future, and you don't really care about the past. Your emotions are like, I have to have this right now. That's a feminine trait. A masculine trait would be to be like, I can control myself. This is not important for me in the long run, and that's why I choose not to do it right now. Of course, it's easier to have sex with, women all over the place, and it's easier to, to just enjoy life and just travel and not pay your bills and not caring about what other people think because, hey, I'm a rebel. I care about the now. Like, of course it's easier, but it's not the way things work. If you understand compounding interest, if you understand that what habits can do for you over time, if you just pick a few key habits that's going to revolutionize your life, like paying yourself first, setting aside every single paycheck, setting aside money for your investments and for building your empire. Or, do you understand what I mean? You have to control yourself in the now in order to succeed. And that is a masculine trait, to be able to do that. If you don't manage to control yourself, you're being feminine and being what I call a little girl. And that's not where we want to be. We want to grow up, we want to become men, we want to take responsibility, and we want to take it to the nth degree. So, lastly, what is it that increases masculinity? It is self-discipline. Discipline. Being rejected by yourself because you suck and because you have to overcome who you are, because who you are right now is not who you're meant to be. You are on a journey towards becoming your greater self. You're on a journey to become the best man that you can become. And that journey starts today if you haven't started it before. And that journey is self-discipline. By doing things that you don't want to do, by doing things that you don't like to do, by getting your hands dirty in terms of making choices that are uncomfortable. That's when you create greatness. It's a book called The Bonds That Make Us Free. That's how you truly get freedom, is by taking responsibility so that more and more people give you freedom. If you serve tons of people now, eventually tons of people will serve you in the future. It's karma. That's how it is. So that self-discipline thing is such a key thing. And what is more about self-discipline than semen retention? Not much, I gotta tell you, because that's one of the hardest things that you will ever do. And if you can overcome that, get it? If you can overcome semen retention and actually retain your sperm on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, month-to-month, man, you can achieve anything in life that you want to do. Anything, because it's the hardest thing to do. And you know what happens after a few months? It's almost as like you're invincible, because you're no longer in the need or in the emotional state of I need to have sex, or I need to masturbate, or I really need porn right now. It's you're on an even keel. Instead of having the up and down emotional roller coaster of being a woman and needing sex. We don't need it. Yet we have it because it's a wonderful experience that you share with the woman of your dreams. That's how sex should be like. It's not men who is more interested in sex than what women are. The only reason that is the case is because you're being feminine and you're ejaculating. Women don't ejaculate very often. And so I don't understand that concept perfectly. But in terms of men, I do understand how I was in the past in terms of the up and down roller coaster and needing masturbation, needing porn, needing all of those things that in the end doesn't serve you or the people that are involved. What you do when no one is watching is what truly defines you. And what else is there? Like, I mean, you can cheat, steal, but really being able to control yourself when you're by yourself and no one is watching is the way to go in order to become a man. So, if you like this video, my opinion, absolutely, semen retention will massively increase your masculinity because of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the key in this topic. And there's no other way that I know of that will get your self-discipline on the right track than semen retention. Anyway, like this video, comment below if you have any experiences about it, and if you want to share with us, then I'll also see you again tomorrow. Take care.